Welcome to the Coaching Table. I'm Thomas Thompson, Executive Leadership Coach and Consultant with Lead Self, Lead Others. And the Coaching Table is a weekly experience I've created to help leaders like you have the conversations that you're not having so we can keep your leadership moving forward. Now, today is part 2 of a conversation called Leading Through Listening. I encourage you to scroll down and tap on the button and watch the first episode so you can catch up with us. But leading through listening. Now that sounds a little counterintuitive to leaders because as leaders, we tend to emphasize telling. We have a message to share. We have a presentation to make. We have a conversational goal to reach. And so most of our chips are in the basket of telling and very few make it to the basket of listening. But we saw something last week, a sentence that points to one of the most powerful practices in our leadership. This is powerful in your friendships, in your marriages, in your workplaces, in your parenting, and in your own spiritual journey. It is what I call a leadership superpower. And it's found in the first chapter of the book of James, verse 19. He says, everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. And when you'll discover this, when you are slow to speak, it means that you will end up saying less, but what you do say will carry more power. This is the leadership help listening gives us. Now, I asked you last week to pay attention to listening around you, to how you're listening in conversations, to how you're watching other people listen to each other in conversations. And I bet you're finding what I have found as I have spent hundreds and hundreds of conversations paying attention to listening. And it's this: we're not that great at listening. We're quick to speak. We're slow to listen. But if James is calling everyone to do this, that means that everyone can get better at being quick to listen. So over our next few sessions, what I want to share with you are 4 different levels of listening. And what my hope is that you will be aware of which level you're in, and then I'll give you some adjustments to make so you can bump up a level. And hopefully we're moving to that full 4th level of really listening like leaders do. Here's the first level though. Level 1 is what I call listening to fix. It comes with the mindset that the person that you're speaking with needs something solved. And in this level of listening, you're just listening enough to get the information you need to tell them what you want to say. Now, you're probably at this level giving about 25% of your listening to this conversation because 75% of your brain is working on what you're going to say in response when they finally stop talking. Now, let me give you a surefire test if you're talking to somebody who is at this level of listening. You ready? Interruption. When I can't get the last word of my sentence out before they have started theirs, they are not listening to me. And if I'm the one interrupting, I'm not listening to them. I want to encourage you with this, leaders. If you are always having something to say, or you're always the first person to respond to a question, or you're interrupting people, you're probably living at this level. Now, one way to move yourself out of this level of listening is very simple. Get comfortable with silence. It's okay that there aren't always words filling the space between you and that person. And when you get comfortable with silence, you're going to discover a few things. You're going to discover that the person you're talking to is going to feel more valued and heard. You're going to discover that they actually might go on and share more. They might expose you to the root of what they're trying to say. You're going to get to that point faster when you're quiet. You'll also be giving yourself space to consider what is the most important thing I should say at this moment. This means that your words are going to carry more weight because you're wielding them in response to what you really heard, not just what you thought you were hearing. So how can you do this? Let me give you a very simple way to begin getting slow to speak. I call it the 3-second principle. When someone else is talking and they get to the end of what they're saying, just wait 3 seconds before you say anything. You're being slow to speak because you want to really absorb what they're saying, and you're practicing not being quick to speak on what you have to say. You'll start being quicker to listen. So a coaching table question for you to kind of take through this week is, how will you get more comfortable with silence? I want to encourage you to take that question with you throughout this week into your conversations, and that you actually practice that 3-second principle. Wait till I get to the end. 1, 2, 3. You don't have to count out loud with or use your fingers. You can kind of do that internally, but you're just giving yourself that pause so that you really become quick to listen and slow to speak. I'd love to hear how your conversations are going and how you're getting better at listening. I'll be back next week with that second level of listening that we begin to move through. Until then, you're always welcome at the coaching table.